Please listen carefully. Some people believe that people who play video games are learning important life skills. Others believe that video game players are wasting their time. Which view do you agree with and why? Include details and examples in your explanation. You may begin to prepare your response after the beep. Please begin speaking after the beep.
In this question, you will read a short passage, listen to a talk, and answer a question about them. After you hear the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare a response and 60 seconds to record the response. You will have 45 seconds to read the article. Begin reading now. Now listen to two students discussing the university's plan.
Did you read this article? Are they serious?
Yeah, I think so. Why?
Well, first of all, a lot of kids aren't looking for a relaxing break at lunchtime. They like to study while they eat, especially if they have exams coming up or some assignment they have to get done.
Yeah, that's true.
And now they won't be able to concentrate. This is going to be very distracting.
Okay. Yeah, I see your point.
And second, most students don't like classical music.
It's certainly not what I listen to.
So are people going to stop listening to their own music?
No.
I think people are going to be even more likely to bring their MP3 player, to play their own music and block out the classical stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The man expresses his opinion of the university's plan. State his opinion and explain the reasons he gives for holding that opinion. In this question, you will read a short passage, listen to a talk, and answer a question about them. After you hear the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare a response and 60 seconds to record the response. You will have 45 seconds to read the article. Begin reading now.
Now listen to a talk on the same academic subject.
The terms obsessed and addicted are used so loosely these days that one of the most serious mental diseases in America is often not taken seriously even by medical professionals. Obsessive-compulsive disorder is in fact one of the most debilitating psychological diseases, though it only affects about 4% of the population. Now, when I say debilitating, I mean in terms of quality of life. While very few people die from the symptoms and responses to OCD, if they don't seek any help, which most don't, they become severely depressed and isolated. Holding down a job or maintaining social relationships are virtually impossible for many OCD sufferers. The term obsession has to be defined properly when making a proper diagnosis. A true obsession for OCD sufferers is something that is considered abnormal even by the patient himself. So we're not talking about a passion for golf or a love of game shows here. To an OCD sufferer, an obsession is generally a persisting thought with no merit, such as the feeling that one is going to throw oneself into traffic. The rituals and behavior that OCD sufferers engage in, such as repetitive hand washing or excessive checking, are usually unrelated to the obsessive thoughts. In other words, someone who can't get the image of a tree falling on their house out of their mind might engage in an unrelated ritual such as flipping constantly through pages of a certain book.
Explain how the professor's description of OCD expands upon the reading.
Directions. You will now listen to part of a lecture. You will then be asked a question about it. After you hear the question, you have 20 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Now listen to part of a lecture in a biology class. So let's continue our conversation about the cuckoo bird. Now, one interesting thing about this particular species is that it practices egg mimicry. You see, cuckoo birds lay camouflaged eggs, much smaller than a bird their size should make, in other birds' nests. Their mimic eggs look identical to the other eggs, so the mother bird does not notice that the cuckoo egg is not theirs. Now, there are two benefits to the practice of egg mimicry. For one, the young cuckoo birds are provided a home and food by their adoptive parent, and also the other baby birds in the nest are offered some protection. For the cuckoo bird, egg mimicry is an easy way to have their young raised by a host bird. When the eggs hatch, the baby cuckoo bird shares in the shelter of the nest and the food brought by its newly adoptive parent. These birds also grow much larger in a shorter amount of time, so it's easier for them to compete with the other birds. If there's not enough food or room for all the baby birds to share, well, the cuckoo baby has been known to push the other birds out of the nest and consume all the food. But believe it or not, there is also a benefit for the other baby chicks sharing the nest with the cuckoo bird. Once the cuckoo baby bird hatches, it provides the nest with protection. When the mother bird leaves the nest and a hungry predator comes to take advantage of her absence, the baby cuckoo releases a smelly odor that drives the predator away. If the other baby birds are allowed to remain in the nest with the cuckoo, then they are, in this way, also protected from these dangers. Now, answer the question. Using the example of the cuckoo bird from the lecture, explain 2 ways in which egg mimicry is beneficial for birds. You have 20 seconds to prepare your response. You may begin preparing now. You now have 60 seconds to speak. You may begin speaking now.
I think that not only the playing games is wasting time, but also it has many disadvantages for players. At first, it make addicts players. In fact, they don't understand passing the time, and so they lose their opportunities in their life. In addition, it causes many diseases in players. For example, because they don't have enough physical activity, in long time they get diabetes and high cholesterol. In addition, because they stay one position, they get arthritis.
The announcement states that there will be classical music playing during lunchtime and provides 2 reasons for that. The men totally disagrees with this new policy and opposes each reason. First, he says that a lot of students doesn't want to relax during lunchtime and they want to study, especially if they are having any exam or assignment, and now they won't be able to concentrate in their studies. Second, he says that the students are more likely to bring their music player. He says that most students doesn't like classical music and they will try to black out the sound by their MP3 players, and those are the reasons why man doesn't like the new proposal.
The reading defines obsessive-compulsive disorder by touching briefly on the difference between obsessions and compulsions. While it mentions that the average stressors in daily life do not cause the obsessions of OCD sufferers, the lecture expands on this fact, giving clear examples of obsessions and compulsions. The professor claims that the disorder is not taken seriously enough because people tend to misuse the term obsessed. As in the reading, the professor points out that the obsessions for OCD sufferers are not realistic. They are more like persistent thoughts that don't make sense. In addition, the compulsions are generally unrelated to the obsessive thoughts.
In the listening, the lecturer discusses a practice among cuckoo birds called egg mimicry. Cuckoos lay eggs that look the same as other birds' eggs in size and color. The mother cuckoo lays her eggs in another bird's nest, so that bird can't tell the difference between her own eggs and the cuckoo's. According to the lecturer, this practice has two advantages. First, when the baby cuckoo birds are born, the host bird raises it like its own. The baby cuckoo is provided with a home in the nest and food from their adopted mom. But also, there is an advantage to the other baby birds too, and that is protection. Should a predator try to come for the nest while the mother bird is away, the cuckoo will release a smell that wards off the predator. After hearing this talk, I now have a better understanding of egg mimicry.